I'm a student of Macdonald, only that because I love him so much, because he gave so much love to people, not so much through his tongue, but through his hands. I'm, in the last 44 years, trying to understand where this love comes, why his hands are so, I would say that it's like to come back to the womb, being in his hands. And really that's what he gave. He, without words, we went out of the womb of our mother, and Macdonald brought us to the womb of the world. Because the problem of Alexander for me was, and you all know it, all his effort to put his head in the right place, to take the head forward and up, to try to free the neck of himself, to be more gentle in his effort. But you can see that all what Macdonald did was, he was dealing with himself inside his body. Alexander didn't see at the beginning of his research that the body is a receiving, as a receiving character. And this is a hard work, to be able to receive, to be passive. To be passive is very hard work. To let the womb, the energies around you, to deal with the place of your head. And because this is the meaning of let. Let means it's not the duty of your body, to take the head up. So what Alexander discovered is that the head is being taken up and not moving up, and not pushing up, and not lifting up. The life, the energies around us are dealing with the head of the human being like they deal with the trees and the little plant, flowers. We are part of nature. So this Alexander realized, and in my understanding, he couldn't realize it just by logical way. To arrive to the non-doing alone, just with the help of the mirror, while the mirror has no arms to put on the neck and to give you the tone of non-doing, it's impossible. So my research was what made the head of Alexander just explode upward, the fold and up. Why nothing in the body of Alexander is helping it? It looks to me that it happened by an accident. But it happened for me by an accident that the two partners of this accident were, from one side, the great belief of Alexander in the place of the head. Because he saw already at the beginning of his research, opposite the mirror, that when he takes with the muscles when he takes the head forward and up, his voice improves. But he didn't come to the best condition. And Alexander was an artist. He was looking for perfection, for the truth of voice. So one factor was his brain believing it. And all his confusion in all the stages towards softening the neck or releasing the neck, they failed. And I believe that Alexander arrived to a state of surrender, of giving up, of almost desperation. But at the same time, his belief was still there. So if you take the desperation, which is the non-doing, that you can't arrive to it by, I want to be wild, I want to let the neck be free, to let it go free. It didn't work this way. He wasn't enough romantic to write about this stage, this clash between the belief and the desperation. And then you recognize, oh, I'm in such a state, and my head is there. And this, for me, made him to understand that he deals with miracles of nature. I came last week on the aeroplane, look at the miracle. This aeroplane was on the sky, and this sky was lifting the aeroplane. But the aeroplane has to be in direction, has to know how to integrate with the nature powers. A little child doesn't have to do it, because he came directly from the womb to the arms of nature. Only when he took from the tree of wisdom and he filled up his brain, the head became heavy, and then he couldn't anymore let his neck be free. So, how can we arrive to neck free and head forward and up without arriving to this miserable state that Alexander arrived? So thanks to Alexander, he discovered the touch of hands. And the touch of hands, and the art of the teacher, is to have in the touch of hands the character of nature, the character of the sky that carries my aeroplane, the birds, everything else. So the Alexander technique is the character of nature in your hands, that when they touch you, you are much more aware to what is around you, and you were blind about it since you were 2 years old or something like this, till now. And this was the great art of Macdonald. Macdonald, I worked with many teachers. Scott was the second teacher in the class when I was studying in 60 national plays, which I have to thank a lot to, now after many years, to my understanding of the technique. I didn't understand it before. And Walter Carrington, that I had contact with him for many, many years, and he was visiting my class twice for 2 weeks in Switzerland and Germany. They all had... Where have you been?
I'm sorry.
You've been in the arms of nature outside.
I'm usually 15 minutes late, but today is too much. I'm sorry. So they all had
a nice meeting. But Macdonald was in his personality a nature creature. In many elements in his behavior and in his life. And he just had this gift, like Caruso has his voice, like Yasha Hefetz has the sound of his violin, and Macdonald had something which is much above even his understanding. And when he was touching you, together with what he believed, he brought you back to the condition of a child. So, what we are doing, I believe, in the class is tuning the body of the pupil, the neck of the pupil, and introducing nature to him. And there is something which is very, very nice in the technique. This is that the arm that you are touching is not one-way road. It's a two-way. Because in the Alexander technique is hiding a wonderful subject that I call it human communication through the touch of hands. Which means that in the moment I come to the pupil, I don't come to give him or to correct him or to change him, but I'm coming to bring him to the state that he is. And in order to be with the state that he is, I have to see the full glass in the half-full glass that the pupil has. And in the moment I come with the hand with such attitude, I'm blooming. So this is what the pupil is giving to the teacher. Now, those things Macdonald didn't share with us in words. He gave it to us. But teaching is to know how much we have to feed the pupil with this kind of sharing my thoughts, how much I get from the pupil. And so this is education. This is contact. This is being with another one. And I'm trying to teach it. I'm not a great performer with my hands. I don't have the best voice. I'm concentrating on the voice of the pupil. And I enjoy very much, without envying, when the teacher, when the student is putting his hand on me, and it gives me something that I can give him only through my teaching, but not through performing like Macdonald. So, this is a subject that I can share with you in the work, but after such holy words, don't expect something special. When you meet me, I'm like you, I have so many mistakes or lack in the abilities, but I'm trying again and again, and I will admit it with you. Because teaching is sharing with the pupil, even the difficulty of the teacher in the work. And this is for me teaching, sharing, of course not to put myself under the pupil, but really to share with you this. So, that's what I can say. If you have any question around I don't know if I told you once the story of my very good friend who was qualified by Peter Scott. He was a bus driver in Israel, and the bus company sent him to London to study the Alexander Technique and then to come back to work with the bus drivers because they had so much pain. And he was also a basketball player, a very huge man, nice man, family man, children, his wife, and they came to London and he studied. He was a pupil of me and some other teachers before he went to London. We were friends in the army. And when he came back from London, he came to me and asked me, Yehudah, can you show me, because I studied with Scott, the primary control touch of Macdonald? And I said, yes, I was showing him things, working with him, and through the years I became his student because he was putting the Macdonald touch on me in such a way that it wasn't only a joy, it was the all together and the one after one at the same time. It was so beautiful. And for me, he was the last word in the touch. With Macdonald, you had all together, not the one after the other. But with Hillel, my friend, you could see the details in the all together, and the rhythm and everything. Now, every time that I went back to Israel from Europe, sometimes it was every week, sometimes every 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks, I had to go to Hillel to share with him the work. I was sitting like this on the armchair, he was sitting here, and it was at 12 o'clock about noontime in July, and he was telling me suddenly, we were speaking about basketball, I think. And Hillel didn't read the Alexander books. He didn't know to read English. He wasn't intellectual, but he was a human animal with human, naive, beautiful wisdom. And when Scott was touching him, or somebody else, the understanding of him was so perfect and wasn't disturbed by books, and not by lectures, and not by any theoretical thing. He was just translating it to himself in a very beautiful way, without words. And suddenly, we are sitting and speaking. There was so much light in the room, and then he said, "Whew, it's so dark in here, so dark." And I said, "What?" He said, "It's so dark in the room." And I said, "Hillel, what do you say? What do you say now?" It's so dark in the room. Looked like magic. It was always unexpected. And then he said to me, "You are making the room dark." And we were speaking, laughing, everything. And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You are not working on yourself. You are not connected. Now the word, you are not connected." For him it was possible to look at somebody and to see if the effort of being sitting straight or not straight, if the effort is coming from the body, or if the body is welcoming the influence of the outside and sharing, like when we breathe. We are all the time exchanging energies. So it was, I think this meeting was quite a turning point with me, because I heard many times the word connected. This was almost like with Macdonald, desperation and belief, and here darkness and connected. And this was wonderful. Unfortunately, he died at the beginning of his 60s, or before his 50s. And it was too dark in this world. So,
Yehudah, could you say one or two words about the growing process you went through in the training and how you have arrived at some of your thoughts and understandings of Macdonald through imitation, perhaps at the beginning, struggling to understand how he was offering what he was offered, and when you qualified and afterwards?
You see, when I speak about the desperation that I believe that Alexander was crossing in his journey, I speak about it because I was crossing desperation. After 15 years, or 12, 15 years in Basel in Germany, I just wanted to leave the Alexander technique. I just didn't like to be a therapist. Not that I don't give honor to be a therapist. There are wonderful doctors and many kinds of methods which I appreciate, but it's not with me. It doesn't go with me. And I wanted to live it. But I think that such meeting with healer and Zev is another teacher, who gave me the sensation of really the meeting of hands. The advantage that my colleagues has that they were not perfect, like Macdonald. And so this is why the teacher could teach. This is the why that people can learn. To learn from perfection, the pupil has to be such a great genius to learn from perfection. So it took so many years to start to enjoy. And now, for example, can you come to me? Just stand. I want you to give me a kiss of life. You are very much almost like my girlfriend. My goodness. So, I want you to put your hands on my neck. Good. I like the touch, but it was like kissing without opening the lips. and that's even good night kiss. You open the lips. But the sound was very pleasant to me. Now that it will be with more blossom, with more smell, with that it will really make me, that it will not just give me a message or the tone of I'm the teacher and I touch you in a statical way. I don't want statical. I want to see the voices in the statically, in the non-doing. So I want you, now, I will take your hand, open it. Yes. Put the whole push of the hand under my chin, and the little finger touch my chest, and break the wrist. Wonderful. The same tone that you gave me before, but now with the whole hand. It's like again to sing from here off with the whole mouth. Understand? Keep the wrist in front of my nose, which is easy. And now put the other hand on my neck. Not on the head, on the neck. With the tip of the finger, there is also kind of a touch on it. Now, can you speak with your hands? I want you to tell me with your hands, to give me some compliment, and to tell my neck that this is the most beautiful neck in this room. Or just really wonderful. So you see, you are not trying to free my neck and taking my head folded up. You are bringing freedom to my neck. You don't free it, you bring the freedom to my neck. You bring the forward and up. You see, if we turn, we can all see the place of the head. You can see the vertical back hand and the horizontal front hand, but don't lift your hand. My friend Ze'ev didn't allow his students to put the hand under the neck because of the fear of stretch. There is, even people wants to come and to give a compliment, their instinct can't ignore that this is for the sake of up, and they are taking the head up. You tell it with your hand, don't go up. This is the message that you have to give. Can you now move the two hands of you as they are towards this direction? This, away from you. Can you move them? More, the whole arms. That's it. Now you arrive to where I was before you touched me with your hands. Which means that the teacher is the meeting with the state of the pupil in the meeting moment. From there, things will start to happen. From there, the miracle will take place. Of course, there are some inputs that the teacher is giving, but they are invisible inputs, and they are in the meeting area. They don't go up, they don't go down, they are in the meeting. So if you put again the two hands, and move them a little bit there, because the holding of the shoulders are giving a sound of insight towards you. So give a little bit there, more even. Yes. This is a case of life. Now my head didn't go up, but my body left my head and left my head alone. And from this I can understand that the head doesn't need any help from beneath. So this is what Macdonald did to us. And this I couldn't understand. Even I sense it every day for almost 6 years, I think. 3 years in the class, and another 3 years near him. Another year to be with him, and another year, and then coming to him all the time, again and again, to find the secrets. But it was too perfect for me to understand. I need a simple teacher. And Macdonald as an assistant. Yes, to show me. Good.